Oh, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? I have a series of games for you today between Mouse's Strelok and Kirchi. What the F? That's not his real name. I know that is someone other than Kirchi, and I will find out right now who that is. Alright, so this is CheckPrime, not Kirchi. Evidently playing under another account. I thought it was CheckPrime. I just wanted to confirm, though. I did a little pause and stop action there and picked it right back up, so that's pretty cool. The advantages of being able to edit. Yeah, pretty phenomenal. So we have a game between CheckPrime and Strelok. More than just a game, though. This is a series. Casting the series for you, some enjoyable entertainment for you. Then going to be coming out with that Promise strategy video. And yeah, today's a big day for videos for 4 Strategy Gaming, huh, guys? I'm pretty excited. This is awesome stuff going on here. So again, we've got a matchup between Strelok and CheckPrime. This is a Terran versus Zerg, and we are, of course, here on Metalopolis, canceling that worker there, of course, going up for that 11 drone, doing that extractor trick. You don't see many people do that anymore. It's just not as popular. I'm really not sure how the math ended up working out for that. I know during the beta we saw lots and lots of people doing that. The first prominent person I really remember doing it was TLO. TLO, in fact, on the regular did a double extractor trick where he'd build 2 drones once capped, or he'd build 2 extractors once capped, dropping him to 8, then build 2 drones, and then canceling both extractors, putting him at 12 out of 18 supply. So yeah, pretty cool stuff, but I wasn't sure if it's actually worth it economically, if it actually panned out. And yeah, I don't know. Does anyone know? Do you guys know? Let me know in the comments below if you have any mathematics on that. You can't just spew facts without some, or you can't just spew opinions or thoughts without some facts there. So give me some math and let me know whether or not that extractor trick actually pays off. I'm sure there's a post somewhere on Team Liquid or something like that. Strelok just about finished that barrack and no gas yet. So what does that mean? It means he's either going for a 2-rack or a 1-rack's fast expand, and I think that will in fact be the case, because were he going for 2 racks, he would already have that up right now. Now we can see right now, CheckPrime is coming out with that spawning pool. Still no extractor for him, and he does of course have that quick expansion up right now. Now taking a look at production, we can't see nothing else in the works, but wait, here comes something. There is the next base right there, the expansion rather, if you will. Command center being dropped right there, and yeah, gonna be going for that quick expansion, that 1 barrack into expand. Gonna be trying to deny there, and in fact he was able to do that, denying the scouting of that drone, forcing it to push back, and then placing down that depot. Doesn't look like we're going to be seeing any early aggression from Strelok. It doesn't look like that is his plan. Just getting a nice scout here with this SCV, moving inside and out of the base, doing what is necessary to scout out his opponent. He wants to check that gas timing, and there we go, extractor being dropped down, so now he knows at this point that there is going to be some gas, and he can expect that metabolic boost sometime in the relatively near future. I mean, it's not going to be starting anytime soon because that extractor, of course, isn't even up yet. And look at this, command center just about 50% of the way finished, also dropping that double refinery. So going to be seeing a factory drop next, most likely, more likely than not. Otherwise, were he going for bio heavy, I don't think he'd be going that double refinery. Wouldn't make a whole lot of a sense. And again, that command center just about finished. So yeah, not too much going on right now at this moment. Hopefully you guys are liking the new intro. I am super stoked about it. You have no idea. The new intro made for me by Zach Booth is just absolutely phenomenal. I think he did a fantastic job, and really helps add to the legitimacy here of 4 Strategy Gaming, trying to become legit, too legit to quit, if you will. Moving down right here with the SCV, dropping that bunker. That is, of course, necessary. Still have to be a little bit concerned about Zerglings hitting on this side. We'll see how he plans on dealing with that. Orbital command just about finished. Should be transferring it right on over. Right after that, we can see that factory, as I forecasted there, that factory being dropped down. Roach Warren working its way on in as well here for CheckPrime. Not really filling up that distribution between the 2 bases. He hasn't really evened that out very much. A little bit more saturated here in the main. Of that of course means that he's going to mine out a little bit quicker on the main, unless he's sending these 6 drones that are coming out right now straight to his expansion. Not sure. Looks like this is in fact some of those drones going to be headed straight to main here. Now we do have 3 Marines that we're pushing out right now, trying to seize control of that Zelnaga tower, if only momentarily. Going to be running on into the bunker right now, and here we go, double Hellions making the way on out. Now this could be a little bit problematic again, because we do have this Roach Warren out here for CheckPrime, and he is in fact just going to be starting out with the 1 Roach, not working to get too many Roaches early game. There we go, there's a second working its way on out as well. We do have another Queen making its way out to go ahead and get some, get some extra creep spread going on. We can see we do already have these 2 Queens for the inject larva at either base, but that 3rd Queen is going to help that creep spread, also going to help for some early game defense. Strelok coming down, formulating this wall here, making it hard for Zerglings to run on through. And there we go, first two Hellions making their way on out of Strelok's base. Going to be moving in to do some harassment. We do have Cloak Banshees on the way as well. Taking a look right there. I'll hop on over to that building very quickly so we can see those Cloak Banshees. Going to be moving out in a moment. That scouting SCV still hanging out over there. Very surprising. Look at that though, the Roach moving up. The Hellions are going to see that and pulling out just out of range there. Luckily not getting hit. You don't want to take any unnecessary hits from those bad boys over there. We have another Hellion chilling out over here, and there's two more in fact. So I think, was he going to push out with the 4? I'd like to see him do that. I'd like to see him do a little harass. Looks for the time being though, instead of pushing out to the base of CheckPrime, he's just going to be looking to move around, scout around with his units, and see if he can catch any Zerglings off guard basically. Nice spotting here on the edge with the Overlords. He's actually going to be catching that Banshee before it actually moves in to do any damage. And look at that, going to be scouting out this third expansion right now. The Hellion makes it in just in time. Going to be spotting that Expo. So right now Strelok is well aware that CheckPrime is pushing hard for that next Expo, working really on his economy. We do have 5 more Roaches making their way on out as well. Taking a look at that unit counting station. 7 on the board already, 5 more in the works. We do have 1 Roach, 4 Hellions. I'm sorry, 1 Banshee, 4 Hellions, and 3 Marines on the board as well. And that second Banshee just about to work its way on out. Also, that Cloak's about finished. It looks like for transition, Strelok's going to be going relatively bio-heavy. We do see this factory here as well, so wouldn't be all that surprised if we saw some tanks make their way on out. Now, CheckPrime getting up that third Expo right about now, so that means he's going to be able to move over and get that saturated. And yeah, at this point, we're going to need to see some harassment here from Strelok, and here it comes right now, moving forward with that Banshee. Going to start doing some harassment, and we don't have a single layer on the board. There is no layer. Now, we do have the Zevo chamber dropping down the Spore Crawlers, but this is not going to happen until he takes significant damage from Strelok. Strelok has a tremendous opportunity to deal lots and lots of damage right now. Now again, we do see CheckPrime trying to drop as many Spore Crawlers as possible. He knows they're going to get target fired. He's just trying to make sure that he does get some on the board. We do have 2 working their way down here, so the Expo is going to be fairly safe, but this main is taking continuous harassment right now. Queen's moving forward. They are actually in vision right now. Those Banshees are in vision, but with that 1 Spinecrawler down there, even though the Spinecrawler wasn't in shooting range, the detection range is a little bit further. This Banshee just running out of that energy there is going to be forced to pull back right now. Again, with no energy, he of course will not be able to do any more cloaking. That's pretty obvious crap right there. These are the kind of things that no one wants commentators talking about. Like, why? That's plainly obvious. There's no reason for me to say something as stupid as that. So I apologize, guys. I really do. Here we go. Hellions moving on down right now for Strelok, and just doing some scouting for the time being. It looks like, again, trying to catch any Zerglings out of position, and any extra kills really helps a ton. And actually going to be very close, almost taking out that creep tumor. That would have been really nice here. Banshee moving forward, going to be taking that out, and looks like we are seeing a big push right now from Strelok. Going to be moving to the front base here of CheckPrime. Does CheckPrime have enough? Not quite at the moment. He does have 16 Zerglings making their way on in right now as well, though. So that, of course, is going to help quite a bit. That level 1 upgrade just about finished. Also going to be working on that Baneling's Nest, seeing this Marine-heavy build. Banelings, of course, are going to be very, very effective. Hellions moving forward and going to be trying to do some roasting here of this base. Now, not a lot of defense. Trying to come down with these 2 Spinecrawlers right now. If those Hellions can move in right now, though, they could do a whole bunch of damage. Come on, move in on Hill. Yeah, there we go. Moving on in. That was ridiculous from me, huh? Hellions moving on in, going to be roasting those drones very quickly. Roach is forced to pull up, and those Hellions are going to have to vacate immediately. They're going to get dropped very, very quickly by all those Roaches. Spielings working their way on in as well. Looks like Strelok deciding not to continue up that harassment. Did pull back with his units. Hellions still just moving around. It's so hard, really, for CheckPrime to deal with those Hellions. Now, the Spielings can catch up, but he is, of course, concerned about some good micro from those Hellions. Being able to roast just so many Zerglings, it may not even be worth it trying to engage. That's basically as there. 2 Roaches moving down, though, dropping that 1 Hellion very quickly. Other 2 Hellions going to be forced to push back. What is that Hellion doing? That is very stupid of you, sir. Why are you standing there? You do not stand much of a chance. That was, of course, a missed micro because he was doing a drop over here and dropping that full medevac worth of Marines, taking out a few Zerglings and not losing a single Marine. So quite effective there. Even though he only got a few kills of those Zerglings, he did manage to, again, not lose any Marines whatsoever. Dropping those Marines, going to be healing them on up, and it looks like we may very well be seeing a push, if for no other reason than trying to secure this high yield. Very, very ballsy move move here by Strelok. Very dangerous indeed. Dropping on the high ground, sieging up tanks on the low ground. Nice positioning here. Strelok is going to be trying to take out this Overlord, try to take out a couple of these creep tumors. I'm not sure how much structural damage. He's going to try to stem in and probably do some damage with these guys and then pull back to the safety of the siege line. And there we go. Moving forward, going to be taking down that queen. Oh, very close. We did have a transfuse go down. These roaches, the banelings, and as well as the additional queen moving on up, definitely going to help. And man, I tell you, I am really bad at doing this busy sit. I'll say hi to you, Superman, but just not right now. I got stuff going on. I'm doing things here. We have a planetary fortress making its way on in. A couple of Marines moving on down here as well. That's exciting. Scan going down, dropping those creep tumors, trying to drop that spore crawler, taking a few hits from those banelings. Banelings getting one shot from that siege tank, though, dropping them very quickly. So Strelok being very aggressive, picking up tanks and just slowly trying to encroach forward on CheckPrime's base, and just very dangerous move here. He's very susceptible to losses, but all those tanks on the low ground, of course, are helping him quite a bit. Moving forward with this Cloak Banshee here as well. And look at this, we have a counterattack coming down from CheckPrime. We'll see how effective he can be with that. Marines trying to stim around, do as much damage as possible, pulling back to the safety. But look at this, Zerglings moving forward. They are taking fire from that one tank. Zerglings trying to get us around on the tank. They're going to drop that very quickly. A few Marines moving forward to reinforce here as well. We do have a few Zerglings. Want to be careful of that planetary fortress. Still continue to harass from all of those Marines. Zerglings doing a great job here. Strelok wants to lift that up. He does do it in time. A little bit in danger here of losing this expo. At the very least, could lose a ton of workers. At the same time, Marines doing what they can. Unfortunately, we did see a few of those Marines get dropped. That siege line, though, is so hard right now for CheckPrime to push on. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to do that. Zerglings still going to town here at this expo, and it looks like Strelok did lose quite a bit of workers down there. So nice counter harass there by CheckPrime. Definitely paid itself off, but again, look at this. He still had this high yield up and mining for quite some time. Just now, CheckPrime is working to get his third, but look at these stim Marines just dropping these builds so quickly. Zerglings moving forward first around, pulling back to the safety of the tanks, and my gosh, those Zerglings dropped so quickly, lifting up a ton of those Marines, and wow, look at that tank fire, just absolutely obliterating those roaches and Zerglings. Now, we did see Strelok lost a bit. He lost a few tanks there as well as a few Marines, but still, he did his damage, killed a lot of units, and dropped that spawning pool, which is absolutely huge. Right now, CheckPrime cannot make any Zerglings, trying to come out with these Mutalisks right now to try to deal and snipe down these tanks. And actually, these tanks are very vulnerable to Mutafire right now. Banelings rolling forward. Got to pull back to the tank safety. A few more reinforcements making their way on in. And here we go. Mute harassment going to be going down on this high yield expansion at the same time. Stim Marines trying to stay away from those Banelings. And this is going to do a lot of damage. Strelok not in a good position right now at all. Going to be losing almost all those workers, forced to stop mining right now. Strelok only really has that natural expansion well saturated. The main is really low on resources right now, not a lot of minerals, so needs to get back to mining there. Pulling down with some Marines, going to push back those mutas. Great job there by Strelok, and CheckPrime, good job on his harassment as well. But this continued push here and threat from these tanks on the low ground, definitely really frustrating, I'm sure, for CheckPrime, having to constantly deal with this, and a few Banelings getting blown up by those siege tanks. They're so effective. And again, like I mentioned, what he wants to do with these mutas is try to engage any vulnerable siege tanks. And right now, actually, these siege tanks looking very vulnerable. He should be able to snipe these down, no problem. There are not enough Marines here on the high ground right now, and these tanks are going to get dropped. Marines trying to get within range, but if those mutas sit over here, they're going to be pretty safe. But at the same time, lots of reinforcements going. At this point, I think Strelok could just try to do a push here on the natural, and he could be pretty effective. Looks like he's not doing that. Going to be moving down, but again, needs to be very, very wary about getting these tanks sniped. He really, at this point, needs more Marine numbers. I don't think he has enough at this point to properly deal with all these Mutalisks. Trying to do what he can, but there's so many Mutalisks, and all of these Marines are out of the firing range because he needs to keep some Marines down there in order to not get any mutas from the back end sniping down these tanks. So I mean, I really wish Strelok tried to push. He's doing what he can to encroach on this side of the base, though. Scan going down, taking down the creep tumor, trying to drop that Overlord there as well. Pretty effective. Oh my gosh, look at this. Muta harassment going down in the main base of Strelok. Strelok forced to stop mining again, pulling back to the safety of that missile turret. So dangerous. And here we go. Counterattack coming from Strelok, getting mopped up, though, by all those Speedlings and Banelings and Roaches. Oh, absolutely devastating. Lost so much right there. Thor pushing back those mutas back here to the main base. And Strelok, man, he's just dealing with so much harassment. Those mutas being able to fly all over the place. At the same time, of course, he has had the siege up line, but look at this, exactly what I'm talking about. Any lone, any vulnerable siege tanks, even if they're just barely out of the range of those Marines for only a moment, those mutas are going to do what they can to snipe them down as quickly as possible. So very effective work there by CheckPrime. It's pretty impressive play. That's all he really needs to do. Strelok, afraid to move at this point, needs to keep some tanks sieged up. He doesn't want to get rolled over by that mass of Speedlings and Banelings. That is so much, and he's really concerned at this point that if he tries to move up, but Thor going up in the high ground, that's going to help quite a bit against that muta harassment. Another Thor here on the low ground, and just Strelok continuing at this position, but a push coming from the opposite side, moving at the top here. Lots of speedlings and banelings rolling on in. This is very, very dangerous. Pushing down, trying to do what he can for damage, and unfortunately banelings moving up at the top, but look at this massive marine. Seems to be very careful. So many banelings rolling forward. Is he going to pick it up in time? Yes, he does, but he lost a lot of tanks right there. Strelok lost so many tanks to that Zergling push with a few banelings mixed in there. The pop off the marines, still just on these 2 mining bases pretty much. You can see almost no mining there. I would like to see Strelok try to go for another base, but he is so heavily involved in his army right now. Banelings rolling forward, needs to be careful, pulling them back again. Stim packing, rolling into the siege fire, but pulling back just in time. He would have lost a lot of banelings, and there are so many banelings on the board right now. Look at all that, more banelings rolling forward. And again, just Strelok having a hard time moving from this position. Like I said prior, if he tries to pick up those tanks and move in, he's just going to get swooped up as soon as CheckPrime realizes that those tanks aren't sieged up at all. And what's going on over here? We are seeing a marine drop moving forward, trying to take out a few workers, but getting surrounded right there completely. And then the muta's moving in, going to be dropping that medevac very, very quickly. So yeah, just kind of sieged up right here. Both players continuing their upgrades. Actually been working on that through the entirety of the game. I've really been focused on the combat here. Stim Marines rolling into those banelings, not scared at all with that stim pack. They are able to pull away and back into the safety of those tanks. And moving forward, trying to take care of these banelings over here as well. This is going to be so frustrating for CheckPrime because it has been continuous harassment here from Strelok. Moving forward again, look at that. He's not, oh man, losing so many Marines to those banelings. Not quite fast enough. Those banelings on creep are able to pull up to those stim Marines and catch them. Unfortunately for Strelok, he lost quite a bit right there. No harassment, no drops going on right now. We aren't seeing a lot of more mutas play. Where in fact, let's take a look at that unit tab. We do have 6 mutas. Looks like at this point though, CheckPrime is transitioning not going to be focusing on those mutas quite as much anymore. Probably because those Thors are on the board, coupled with those Marines. Very, very difficult for you to deal with that properly with mutalist. Even magic boxing. I mean, you can't really magic box against all of these Marines, so very difficult. But this has been tremendous play by both players because Strelok has to be paying attention to so many different things at a time right now. He's going to be paying attention to this attack, and at the same time, he has to be worried about banelings rolling up from the top, needing to pay attention to those Marines, and again, just pulling forward, doing what he can for damage, and trying to pull back. He's really trying to drop this layer as quickly as possible. We do have a few banelings rolling over here, trying to catch up again, but in fact, unfortunately, moving into that tank fire. Would like to see this Thor a little bit closer to protect these tanks from muta harassment. Maybe seeing that happen right now. Oh, getting sandwiched right now, losing all those Marines, and here we go, big push coming, but forced to push back again from that tank fire. Those Thors keeping those mutas at bay, and here we go. Strelok's gonna be moving into his 4th base right now. It'll be his 3rd mining base, although no, he's almost actually mined out here of this high yield. Now over here we do have a little bit of saturation going down for CheckPrime at that expansion, but look at that. He did manage to drop that main base there of CheckPrime and gonna just continue this pressure with tanks and Marines, and backed up by a couple of Thors, and Stim Marines just have been the absolute devastating force here so far for Strelok. I mean, obviously the safety net of those tanks is a big part of it, but look at this slowly pushing forward right now, bringing his units one step at a time, just moving that siege line ever so slightly forward and trying to move right now into the natural expansion here of CheckPrime. I keep mousing over him and almost calling him Churky or whatever that word is. Nice scan going down, taking out some of those creep timbers. Needs to be really careful, pulling back again to the safety of the tank. And man, those tanks have just been keeping everything at bay. Even they don't even want to engage that lone Thor sitting right there because of the threat of the tank fire. Thor moving back, tank fire going down, and that was actually a really good opportunity for CheckPrime. What did I just hear? I just heard banelings rolling into something. I'm afraid I may have missed that. That's unfortunate. Tank line continue to creep forward. Stim Marines moving down, getting swamped up by those banelings. But again, those banelings being forced to push back. Still, those Marine numbers very, very low right now. Let's take a look at that unit counting stage. Okay, never mind. There's 46 Marines. Where are they? There we go. There's a bunch of those moving on in. But a lot of the Marines that he had forward did get dropped to those banelings there. And yeah, here we go. Slow encroaching tank push. So devastating. This actually baneling nest is going to get dropped right now since it's off creep. It's going to slowly be losing health. And this has been the entirety of the game, the slow push here from Strelok. Is he finally going to engage? It looks like he is. CheckPrime just throwing everything he's got, but this siege line absolutely devastating, and he lost so much right there. Let's take a look at that production tab. All we have is 6 mutas on the way right now. Taking a look at the unit counting station, we only have a few Zerglings on the board here as well, and I am not sure at this point, but look at those. All those siege tanks completely vulnerable. All the Marines down here going to be unsieging and moving down forward into the natural expansion here of CheckPrime. That one siege tank going to get dropped, unfortunately. Both these siege tanks going to get dropped here as well. The Marine protection has just not been there. for those tanks, but there aren't a lot of mutas here as well, so even just a few Marines is going to tear through them. There we go, some Marines moving up over here. We got another tank here as well, a couple of Banelings, a couple of Roaches there as well. 24 Zerglings making their way on out. We are seeing continuous production here of these tanks and the store, and here we go, Banelings moving forward as well as those Marines, but this is not looking good at all for CheckPrime. I don't think he has enough. There are enough Marines right here to mop up all of these mutas. Going to be stimming and pushing forward. The medevac's healing them up quite a bit, but those mutas doing a great job of sniping down those tanks. We've got a very vulnerable tank right here as well, and here we go. Looks like Strelok's going to try to be moving into his 5th right now. That high yield expansion all but mined out at this point, and Strelok is actually retreating, feeling a little bit on edge, feeling like he needs to defend his bases right now. He did manage to do the damage though. He took out the main and the natural, and this spawning pool is about to drop. The Bane nest is going to be dropping soon as well. Do we have another spawning pool in anywhere? No, we do not. Spawning pools, oh, there we go. There's a spawning pool right there as well. A little bit concerned there. Mute is going to be moving forward and actually sniping down the worker, trying to build this last command center here for Strelok. Strelok continuing his push, though. He's got quite a bit of forces. Let's take a look at that army tab right now. And that is completely one-sided, 143 to 92. Banelings moving forward, unfortunately not able to catch those tanks before they sieged up. That would have been absolutely huge if he could have rolled in right at that time. Lots of reinforcements here as well. If Strelok can take out the space, that's too much. Banelings rolling forward, unfortunately rolling into the tanks instead of their primary target, the Marines. We did lose a few Marines up here. Strelok still does have that one here Marine, but Stim Marines going to be dropping this hatchery very, very quickly. We have some Muto Harass going up by here, but I think there may be enough Marines. Yes, there are. The Mutas drop, and we do get a GG from CheckPrime. So game number 1 going to Strelok. We'll be moving on to game number 2 in just one moment. Hopefully the series continues to be this exciting. This was quite thrilling. So yeah, guys, stay tuned for the next game in just one moment. Absolutely huge, I would have to say. And here comes the Stim Marine drop, going to be taking place in just one moment. Trying to drop the Creep Tumor. Snoot should be aware of this. I don't think he is, but Baneling's rolling forward, and oh, very close. Picking up those Marines just in time, making him waste the Banelings on single Marines. Actually pretty quality play there by Snooty. But here we go, big Baneling drop taking place here, and Snoot's going to be dropping the Banelings right in the mineral line and taking out so many SCVs. These TQD just finally now responding with this Stim Marines that were hanging out over here while all of the workers, nearly all of the